Shalom and welcome to Israeli Salad. We're now on our way to Jerusalem for a special Jerusalem Day Yom Yerushalayim edition of Israeli Salad. Don't go anywhere. We'll be starting from Jerusalem in just a moment. Okay, so we're now here at the entrance to Jerusalem. Jerusalem, the capital of Israel, the city of cities, the holiest city. We're here celebrating 38 years since the liberation of Jerusalem. We celebrate this on Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day. Come on, let's visit Jerusalem.
Yerushalayim, Ir Shel Shalom. Yerushalayim, King Solomon's throne. Yerushalayim fills me with love. Stirring amidst a modern nation, gleaming brightly with ancient hope. So hard to explain her incomparable.
Jerusalem is not only the holiest city in Israel and the whole world, it's also the official capital of Israel, and that can be felt here. Behind me we have the High Court, the Knesset, the Prime Minister's office, other government offices, the Foreign Ministry, and the Bank of Israel.
Yerushalayim, our sanctified soul. Yerushalayim, the Maccabeor. Yerushalayim, here
Okay, we're now at the Ben Yehuda pedestrian mall. Here, you could see that in addition to all the spirituality that we got here in Jerusalem, we have also great restaurants, great shops, and much more. What does Jerusalem mean to you?
Jerusalem is the center of the world. Jerusalem is the center of the Jewish world.
It's my home away from home.
It's the capital of Israel. It's the holiest city in the world.
When you come to Jerusalem, your soul is calm. It's special. You can't explain it. It's only in Jerusalem.
Every Jew can find himself, his own inner soul.
Our religion is held together by Jerusalem.
Listen, my brother, the stones speak here. It's not just a song. It's really true. Each stone is worth stepping on and seeing. Jerusalem is completeness. It's the only place you feel whole. Whoever hears about Jerusalem thinks it's a totally religious place. It's not like that. There's always a mixture. Look around you, so many kinds of people. It's not about being religious or non-religious. It's about feeling the city.
The ice cream is always good, and water. You have to drink a lot of water.
Yummy food, kosher hamburgers that are amazing.
Don't tell my mom. It's the best food in the world. That's why I'm coming to Israel.
Yep.
Please send your comments, ideas, and questions to the Israeli Salad email, yoni@israelnn.com, or leave a message on the Israeli Salad voicemail at international dialing code 972-3918-5554. That's 972-3918-5554.
המעלות לדוד, שמחתי, ואומרים לי בית אדוני נלך, עומדות היו רגלינו בשערייך ירושלים, ירושלים הבנויה, ירושלים הבנויה, ירושלים הבנויה, כעיר שחוברה לה יחדיו. אחי ורעי ידע ורנה שלום בך למען בית אדוני אלוהינו אבק שטוב לך.
Now we're here joining the Jewish music singer Aharon Razel, who is actually a resident of Jerusalem. Shalom Aaron. So what does it mean to be a Jerusalemite?
It's almost hard for me to answer because I'm so much a Jerusalemite that it seems just like my reality. But it's in a way. I know when I go to Tel Aviv, people tell me, I can't believe you live in Jerusalem. It's like a dream. It's not reality. Trying not to forget that you're kind of living a lot of generations of dreaming and prayers, and you have to not forget it. I mean, not to take it for granted.
And how about your music? Is it connected to Jerusalem also?
I think I'm trying to dig up. People dig up gold and people dig up diamonds. Try to dig up the happiness, the simcha, because Yerushalayim was connected in the time of Beit HaMikdash to simcha. Like the Psalms that I sang before says, "Samachti be'omrim li Beit Hashem nilech." I'm so happy to go to Yerushalayim, and there's still a lot to do. Of course, it seems like I'm a dreamer when I say it's all happy. People will watch me on the Arutz Sheva and say, "What is he talking about?" But you have to have the eyes to see the good and to see the potential, and that's what to be a Jew is about. Like to pray, to hope, and to believe. Not to be down in reality all the time.
Okay, Aaron, we're now on a special program for Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day. Which song do you want to sing in honor of Jerusalem?
Next song is a song that I wrote. You asked me if am I inspired by living in Jerusalem. So first of all, my first son is about 3 years old soon. I called him Shir Tzion, the Song of Zion. So I wrote a song called Shir Tzion, and the words in Hebrew are saying like, now that we're here, we want to sing the Song of Zion again. We were looking for those notes, those lost notes that we lost in the diaspora, and we're finding them.
Okay, Aharon Razel, resident of Jerusalem, thank you very much for joining us, and happy Yom Yerushalayim. Let's hear your song, the Song for Zion.
שיר שמחה שבריר את היגון את שיר ציון שירו לנו שיר שעד עכשיו היה בדמיון את שיר ציון.
The city of Jerusalem used to be much smaller than it is today. As the city was surrounded by walls, it was what we now know as the Old City of Jerusalem. David Miller brings us an historical look at the Old City of Jerusalem.
Hello and welcome. Today we're going to pay a visit to the Eternal City of Jerusalem. Specifically, we're going to take a look at some archaeological sites dealing with the Second Temple period. This represents some of the highest and lowest points in Jewish history. Let's take a look. During the Second Temple period, Jerusalem was one of the most beautiful and prosperous cities of its time. The city was divided geographically into two sections, the upper and lower cities. The lower city was reserved for the poor and working class. The upper was home to the temple priests and aristocracy. We've just ascended 3 meters, and in so doing, we've transversed 2,000 years of Jewish history. This brings us to the upper city of Jerusalem in the Herodian period, and this magnificent ruin is an example of just that. As we've learned from historians, water during this period was a sign of extreme wealth. If that's the case, the people that lived here on the second level must have won the Roman lottery. There are 10 mikvahs here. From this we can see that the Jews who lived there in those days were strictly observant in the rituals of purification. We can also see that the homes were spacious and comfortable, designed in the classic Hellenistic style. A good example are the numerous mosaics found throughout, as well as many items of luxury. However, one is forced to ask the question, what good was all this luxury, since ultimately it was consumed by Roman flames? Some people managed to escape the conflagration. We can see proof of this by looking at the secret escape routes that were used.
And now, unfortunately, we have to show you an example of the other side of the coin here in Jerusalem, death during the Second Temple period. This is the burnt house.
The house apparently belonged to the Katros family, a family known to be Kohen Gadol, or the high priest of the temple. This family is mentioned in the Talmud as being corrupt, using its high position for its own benefit. This house also had a secret tunnel, but perhaps it was not used. Among the burnt remains of the structure, a spearhead was found in the grip of the hand of a long-dead young girl, a grim testimony to the horrific butchery that occurred here. A powerful video presentation transports viewers back in time to the moments just before and during the massacre of the Katros family. Now we go to an exhibit that brings us to the modern fight for Jerusalem. Here one sees that once again fire rages in Jerusalem, this time during the fight for independence in 1948. As we come to the conclusion of our tour, we traverse the Byzantine Cardo. Here we see the menorah, which was recreated in a modern technological way, coating it in gold in mere seconds. That way is suitable for use in the hoped-for new temple. Our tour ends where the next journey of the Jewish people will surely begin.
Well, that concludes our visit today to some of the important archaeological sites of the upper city of the old section of Jerusalem. Reporting from Jerusalem for Israeli Salad, I'm David Miller.
Be sure to visit the Israeli Salad website. On the Israeli Salad site, scroll through all the editions, see what topics were presented on each program, and simply click on the icon to watch your favorite program. Also, watch all our fantastic music videos featured right here on Israeli Salad. So be sure to click on www.israelnationaltv.com/salad.htm. That's www.israelnationaltv.com/salad.htm.
The train between the Tel Aviv area and Jerusalem was operational for more than 100 years. The topographical conditions on the way to Jerusalem caused the train ride to be much longer than a drive on the Tel Aviv-Jerusalem highway, and so in 1998 the train was closed. In April of 2005 the train line was reopened. The ride is still longer than a ride on the highway, but thanks to the new train tracks and the planned new trains, in the future the train ride from Tel Aviv will take around 30 minutes only. Now, as the line to Jerusalem has been renewed, it's time to look back at its history. The King David Citadel Museum put up a display to commemorate this important train line.
In its heydays, the train was basically the official gate to the city. Throughout the years, the train to Jerusalem symbolized authority, ideology, and also economic interests.
To learn of the history of the train, we entered an underground exhibit where the story is presented in an original technique.
We're now standing at a train station. Here we learn the story of the train that serviced Jerusalem.
More than 60 pictures from many archives throughout the country perpetually move around the visitor, like a train. Each picture presents a different stage in the development of the train line.
We see timetables from the Turkish era, from the British era, from after the establishment of the state.
The historical exhibit also presents a criticism of the way the authorities maintain the train stations of the Tel Aviv-Jerusalem line. When we exit the historical exhibition and walk through the archaeological garden, we meet 14 trains. Well, 14 miniature trains.
Here in the garden, we're relating to the fantastic aspect of the train as a toy, as something that brings out the child in each of us.
From here, we again continue underground. This time, we meet an exhibit that is not connected to Jerusalem, except for the fact that a Jerusalemite artist created it. This impressive miniature city contains 9 model trains, more than 500 figurines, dozens of model cars, trees, houses, and much more.
It gives me a lot, the opportunity to be involved with something that's permanent and continuous. It continues stage after stage. It has no ending. It doesn't need one.
Now let's return to the archaeological garden, where in addition to the miniature trains, the ancient stones are interlaced with drawings from a children's book.
Here we see a children's book with magnificent illustrations. It was published in the 1950s. It's about a ride on the Tel Aviv-Jerusalem train line.
Combining fun history and impressive miniature technology, the museum at King David's Citadel offers an interesting and educational experience for the whole family. After all, model trains are suitable to people of all ages. Now the highlight of our visit to Jerusalem is obviously the Western Wall, the Kotel. The Western Wall in the Old City of Jerusalem is the section of the western retaining wall of the Temple Mount, which has remained intact since the destruction of the Second Temple. The Kotel is a sacred spot in Jewish religious and national consciousness and tradition by virtue of its proximity to the western wall of the Holy of Holies in the Temple, from which the divine presence never departed. And now to understand the more spiritual side of Jerusalem, we are joined by Rabbi Nachman Kahana, who is one of the rabbis of the communities here in the Old City of Jerusalem. Shalom, Rabbi Kahana. Thank you very much for joining us.
Shalom.
So what does Jerusalem mean to you?
My first encounter with Yerushalayim on a personal basis was in 1967 when the city was liberated. At that time I was living in Netanya, but I made every effort to come here the first time when it was open for the public on Shavuot. And I was thinking, everything in Yerushalayim has a spiritual meaning. Yerushalayim is the highest spiritual place in the world. And I remembered thinking about the Gemara in Tanit, page 29. It says, at the time of the first destruction and the second destruction, both happened on Shabbat afternoon, Shabbat and afternoon. And the Levium was singing the song of the day of Shabbat, and the Gemara says over there, they were singing the song of Wednesday. But it was Shabbat afternoon. And nobody really knows what does the Gemara mean. Why were the Levium singing the song of Wednesday on Shabbat afternoon when this is happening, when this killing was going on? And I said, take a look. When was Yerushalayim liberated in the Six-Day War? What day? On Wednesday. Whereas the Levium saw in the mind's eye that we're going now to Galut, to the exile, being destroyed. But on Wednesday, we're singing the song of Wednesday because on Wednesday, Yerushalayim is going to be liberated. The prophet Zechariah, when he spoke about the future redemption, It gives a sign of what's going to be the future redemption. It doesn't speak about the skies opening and lightning and thunder. He says the sign of the future redemption are little boys and little girls playing in the street. That's what I like to see. Jewish boys, Jewish girls, all over Yerushalayim.
Rabbi Nachman Kahana from the Old City of Jerusalem, thank you very much for joining us. Okay, that's all for our Jerusalem Day edition of Israeli Salad. We visited a few sites, but you ain't seen nothing yet. You gotta come to Jerusalem to visit the many sites. There are so many sites to visit here in Jerusalem. Come to Jerusalem, visit, you'll fall in love right away. That's all for this week's edition. Join us again next week for another edition of Israeli Salad. Until then, from all of us at Israel National News, Shalom, and a happy Yom Yerushalayim to everyone.
Yeah.